Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Doing Bart Things. And in this episode, I'm trying to run through some news real quick, and then talk about a purchase I made to get another computer case for my uncle, and how I may just use it for myself because I'm building it. You know, he's getting my labor for free. I've also got a Fractal Design North over here that I've been using. So he's going to get either the case I've purchased, or he's going to get this Fractal North. We don't know yet, but stay tuned. We are going to build something in it. And newsflash, it's the Lee Lancool 207, and I've got some initial thoughts about it. So let's get started. First off, for today, the 7900 XTX dropping in price. No shocker, right? Can be had. They're saying $769 on Amazon. I wonder if I click on this, fit. Well, it says $819 here. Get $80 off instantly. How does that? Amazon store credit card. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if I want that, but anyway. So that's reducing down in price, obviously ahead of RDNA 4 getting released, your 8000 series GPUs, and the 7800 X3 XT, RX 7800 XT, good grief, all the model names again, so aggravating, for $419. That's a pretty good deal. I don't know if I like this specific cooler on this one, but if you're just looking for a good card, I mean, it's pretty good for mid-range. I still don't know. Like, it depends. If you're building something brand new, you're looking at 1080p or 1440p gaming. This is not a bad card. It should last you a little bit. It does have 16 gigs of VRAM, so you're not going to run into VRAM issues for a while, one would think. Whoa, clicked on the Power Color store. So, I mean, it's kind of okay at this Black Friday deal, I would say. But I don't know. Still thinking it's probably close enough to wait for RDNA 4. If this just continues to get a little bit cheaper, you know, you're going to see some specials as they try to clear out stock ahead of these new video cards. So you're probably looking at now through Black Friday, Cyber Monday is probably the best times to really go and buy, probably. If you're going to buy this current gen that's about to be, you know, out the door. Hellhound is an alright card. This fighter, like I said, it's pretty plain. I'm sure it would do fine, but nothing special, needless to say, about the cooler or backplate or anything. Pretty plain Jane. But then again, $420, you know, so something to keep in mind. Just wanted to show that. We also have some details on the RTX 550 series lineup from NVidia. So they've gotten some rumor mill when they're getting launched. I mean, look at all this stuff in Q1. The 570, the 570 Ti, the 5080, the 5090D, and the 5090. So basically CES, they're going to drop all these things. Like I said, I think the reason why this is sort of all happening at once, due to outside forces, I think they've already shipped these things, and they're probably holding them ready to distribute in the event that tariffs go up or something, you know, to avoid those costs, since they can get away with that for at least the initial launch, right? And so that's why I think we're getting a launch of everything at once, is because they were getting them over here in time, which would be good for us, like, in a way. I mean, it's good to have the whole lineup, you know, out there. Not this, well, hey, we're going to launch the most expensive one, so someone who wants to be an early adopter has to pay the most exorbitant price in order to do that. The prices, as far as that goes, they're talking $1899 or $1900 for the 5090. No idea on the 5090D. That's probably going to be a Chinese thing, the 5090D, which is the Dragon Edition, and that's because of certain restrictions placed on NVIDIA for selling GPUs in China that are not allowed to perform over a certain amount with AI, basically. You've got your 5080 is going to be, man, 12 or $1,300. Just is what it is. 5070 Ti, I'm going to guess $800, and then you're going to have your $700 5070, the 5060 Ti, and the 5060. I don't know, $400 or $500 probably. I think a lot of that depends on the RDNA 4 lineup, is what NVIDIA is waiting to see, right? They're producing the 5070 Ti and the 5070, so I've got to put those in the market. They're holding the 5060s, waiting to see what RDNA 4 looks like, because they're going to price them cheaper if RDNA 4 is more of a 5070 competitor. Then they're not going to jack the prices up on these 5060s as much, unless the 5060s probably come out and they're actually competitive with the RDNA 4 chips or GPUs. Then they will go, oh, we need to up, right? That's kind of my assumption, and why they're not going to release these until like April. We do have some specs. So the 5070 Ti, we're looking at 16 gigs of VRAM. NVIDIA learned, hopefully. The 5070 regular is going to have 12. That still kind of sucks depending on how much it costs. We don't know on the 5060s. They really need to have 10 or 12 gigs, I think. Notice the TGP here. Total board powers are going up this generation. You have the 5090 at basically saying at 600 watts. The 5080, I want to say the last gen was the 4080 was what, 350 watts, 320 watts, something like that. So at 400 watts, that's an increase. So look for the air coolers on the 5080s to be the same as the 5090s again. They'll probably pass that down. I don't know why they don't just do that anyway. Yeah, the cooler is overkill on a lot of times. But unless you're doing a special edition like the Asus Pro Art Edition, for example, might as well make the coolers as cheap as possible. Hopefully pass on some competitive edge, to your GPUs. That way people can buy them. The 5070 Ti and the 5070, 300 watts and 250 watts respectively. You can see here the amount of CUDA cores. The 5080 is literally half the 5090. The 5090 is going to be, again, like the 4090. The 5090 is going to be far out ahead. It's going to be, I'm thinking 60% higher. You do get some diminishing returns from just how it is. There's something with this die. This 5090 die is massive, as I understand it. It's one of the biggest dies that NVIDIA has ever produced. The GB202 is. So I mean, it is a big chip, and it's on a smaller process, so it holds a lot of cores. That's why you've got 21,760 cores, CUDA cores. That's insane. That's really big. So it's going to perform really well, we would think. But my gosh, it's going to be massively expensive. And the 5080, it needs to be half the price. If this is $2,000, this should be $1,000. I mean, that should be how it is, but it's not going to be. They're going to edge their bets towards the 5090 because that's what they want to sell. Obviously, it's the biggest, probably the biggest, margin that they can make is if they sell a 5090 over a 5080 or even a 5070 Ti. And the 5080, like I said, they're going to go up another $100, I think, over the 4080, which I think is a massive mistake. There's just, I'm not buying this card. I'm not doing it. I'm thinking my price range is more down in the 5070 Ti range for an upgrade over this 3080, but I don't even know. Like, it's just you're just pushing people's upgrade time out further and further and further because people just aren't going to pay. That's just what it is, and it's really frustrating. Make no mistake, they could offer the 5080 probably for $800, right? They could totally do it. I would bet dollars to donuts they could do that. There's probably a plan already in place to refresh these cards towards the end of their cycle. Use the same board and everything, but like probably do a GB 202 cut down that becomes a 5080 Super, for example, and then sell off kind of that extra stock that didn't quite make the grade as a 5090, whatever. That's probably already out there as their plan, and they'll, maybe reduce the price as a sorry, we just got to sell this little bit of stuff we got left over, and that'll be the crumbs that we pick up before the 6000 series, whatever it is they've got next, right? They're just making money hand over feet. It's, I get it, but man, really need AMD to step up. And it's not going to be Intel, unfortunately, so we need AMD. So here's high hopes for RDNA 4. But anyway, looking at it, 5090 is going to be way out in front. The 5080 is going to be basically where it was, the 4080 was in comparison, but this 5080 will be basically around a 4090 in performance. Maybe it'll do ray tracing a little bit better. We'll have to see. The 5070 Ti will then be basically the same or better than 4070 Ti Super is my guess. On down the line, right? So they've uplifted performance probably by one tier, but they're also increasing the price. And I don't think, from the looks of it, I don't think you're going to get more performance for your dollar, is what I'm guessing. Maybe down here a little bit, like in the 5070, 5060. It depends on what RDNA 4 does. Honestly, if there's competition, NVidia will price accordingly. That's all it boils down to. So anyway, this is rumor mill, so take that with a bit of grain of salt, but that's kind of where we're at. So Q1, everything but the kitchen sink will get released. And I think that's true for AMD as well. So just stay tuned. Lastly for today, I have purchased for a build the Lancool 207, and I must say I am pretty impressed for an $80 enclosure. I've actually got it sitting over here, so like even the front mesh panel feels decent quality. Like the panels on this thing do not feel cruddy, as much so as I've seen on some other enclosures. And for $80, it comes with 4 fans, like we've covered before. 2 of the fans are RGB, the 140s in the front, and apparently they move a decent amount of air. And they've also got the like little infinity mirror thing on them. So I don't know, like it's an interesting enclosure. It is maybe like an inch longer than the Fractal Design North, and it is maybe about an inch shorter. So it's very similar in size to the Fractal Design North. I know that the marketing materials for the Lancool 207 talk about a micro ATX inside of a ATX size system inside of a micro ATX size enclosure. I don't think that's entirely true. I think this is just a mid-tower size, if you will. But it is fairly compact, and it makes good use of its space, which is something that I like. And the venting is really good. The fans in the bottom are not bad. I like the case because what it strikes to me is a no-nonsense performance enclosure, right? It's all about airflow and trying to give you that airflow in a compact size for a good price, and not making something that feels really cheap. This case really doesn't feel cheap. I took the panels off. Everything is removable without a screw, basically, or without a screwdriver. I was really impressed. I'm sort of conflicted. I'm kind of thinking maybe my uncle gets the Fractal North, and I'm going to hang on to this because I kind of want to build sort of a no-nonsense, all the airflow I can get in and out of it style system. The Fractal North is awesome, but you can't put a 360 mil AIO in the top, so that's part of my deal. But we'll see. We'll see. But it's very similar in size to the Fractal North. But it's $80. It's $80. Maybe I build a system in my uncle for this inside of there, and then I buy another one for $80. I could save $80. It's just, it's really good. I'm really kind of surprised that I like it as much as I do. Still got to actually mess around with it and do some building in it. I'm thinking about actually taking these, finally using these Mega Cool fans I got and replacing the bottom fans and putting one of these as a rear exhaust. It does not come with a rear exhaust fan, but it does come with 4 fans. So, I mean, hard to argue, again, for the price. And I'm thinking I'm going to get a couple of 140 mil fans of the Mega Cool series, and then I'll have all 5 fans, 4 intakes, 1 exhaust that I might be able to control with this remote here that they provide you. And I think that might be actually kind of cool. If I go into, hey, I'm going to try to, I'm going to go yellow, I can put it on high. And then, or I just want to hear myself think, I can put it on low. It reviewed very well on Gamers Nexus and for just airflow. And yes, I suspect the airflow will be really good. The 2 front fans are very unobstructed, which is something I like. So if you look here, like it doesn't have the rails coming in front of the 140 mil fans. Now, you can only put 140 mil fans in the front of it, but I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I think we tend to get too bent out of shape about, well, it won't fit every single kind of fan that's out there. Like, we need to stop worrying about that and try to make cases to where they flow air the best. And if that means using a 140 millimeter fan, then do that. The Mega Cool fans, the 120s are 30 millimeters thick, and so is the 140. These 140s are also 30 millimeters thick, so I do think that will work. It'll take a little bit of finagling to get the cables routed, I think, or the wires for the fans. But I think I can pull that off. And if I can't, it's no big loss because these 2 front fans are honestly very nice. And they're RGB, but they're pretty stout because they're 30 millimeters thick, like I was saying. So I think they're rated for at high about 2,000 RPM and 100 CFM or something like that. So that's not bad. Yeah, so I don't know. Like I'm pretty impressed so far. I'll try to do a review. I tried to film one, funny enough, with my son. He bounced the phone camera around a little bit more than I liked, so I'm probably going to utilize some other technique in order to do this. My friend's got a camera. Maybe I take it over there and we can do something to sort of highlight the ins and outs of this case. But again, $80. Just tons of airflow. Like it just pulls air in and spits it out, which is great. I almost think this would be a great case to do air cooling in, as well as if you want to do an AIO, there's lots of room up top. I thought it looked really sweet with the Lee & Lee AIO, the Hydra Shift. Just the normal Hydra Shift that basically, I think we can even find a picture of it, I bet. Hydro Shift. There we go. Okay, so these are really expensive versions with the TL fans, but just the regular one though, I thought looked really cool. If I can, yeah, go to picture. Maybe, yeah, here we go. Yeah, this one, which is a little bit cheaper. Like I think these are $159 or $69, because these fans aren't as crazy as the other fans, but I kind of like the little LCD here. I think it'd be cool. And if I put the MagFlow fans in the front, it won't have the RGB in the front. So, having a little bit more RGB on the components inside the case, I think it'd be fun. Like, I think it looked pretty cool. So we'll see. But yeah, like the the ones with the TL fans are very expensive. Which there's going to be so much air flowing into this thing anyway. I don't think that's necessary. If I were to get that, I don't know. Anyway, just random thoughts roll around my head, and I got it. Honestly, it's so I've got extra parts to put together my uncle's system. He's got an old Corsair case that is one of the glass ones in the front, and it has no airflow at all. So this will be quite the upgrade for him either way, with the North or the 207. So. Guys, that's it. That's all I got for today. If you would leave a like or subscribe if you were able to tolerate me for 20 minutes just rambling about stuff. If not, then cool. Tell me about it. And we will absolutely see you in the next one. Have a nice Sunday.